Great. So we've talked about a couple of aspects. How else can we put our bodies on a healthy foundation for life, would you say?
Well, we talked about the acid-alkaline balance, and although it is important with water, and the reason that I started on water is that we're, well, depending on what book you read, 70, 80, 60% water.
Yeah.
So that's vital. If we are made up of that much water, then we need to put the right kind of water in.
Yeah.
But when we talk about the diet, it's also vital that there is a predominantly alkaline foods that we eat.
Great.
And again, there is a lot of people who misunderstand what an alkaline food actually is.
Yes.
And when they think about citrus fruits, for example, they always think that they're always going to be acidic.
Yes.
When they're not.
Yes.
9 times out of 10. Because actually how they measure the acid and alkaline is the ash
Exactly.
of the food, and not the food as it's just come off the tree.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Because that's when it's in our bloodstream, because we've burnt it and broken it down.
Yes.
And that's what they measure. So that's another important thing, and there's so much great information on the internet nowadays where you can get these lists of
Absolutely.
acid alkaline foods.
And stage 3 or week 3 of Bye Bye Baby Belly and other parts of my programme, we're looking at the AV diet or even Bye Bye Beer Belly, is all about alkalising to add vitality. Green vegetables are a big component in that, aren't they? I mean, again, you know, people might say, oh yeah, that's what my gran used to go on about, but actually she was right. That green vegetables are a fantastic source of protein. We've been sold a bit of a myth by the meat industry that we need meat to have protein. They're full of nutrients, they're hydrating, and they're very alkalising. And you can actually consume people can consume a lot more vegetables than they think is normal, and actually begin to put their health on a much better foundation. So if you're not you're not eating a good supply of green vegetables, that's really something to work at. Things like broccoli, spinach,
Definitely,
green beans, Brussels sprouts, properly cooked, preferably not frozen, fresh. So yeah, great. The whole sort of alkalising thing is really powerful. But again, don't go at this in an overly exaggerated way. There have been cases where people have actually become over-alkaline, and that's as dangerous as being over-acid. In other words, you've got to balance your body chemistry, haven't you?
Absolutely.
And this is why I often say moderation in all things.
It's all about balance, but the thing is, we're talking about balance now as though it's a new thing. I mean, people have been advising balance for 100 years,
Yeah.
you know. But obviously, you look at society, and obviously people still haven't got that message of balance.
Yes.
And people take things to a complete extreme.
Yes.
And I don't always agree with it. And you know, you are quite right. You do need to look and study about alkaline foods and choose an alkaline mineral water if that's what you buy. But don't take it to a complete extreme as that's all you eat, because you do need to have a balance.
No, and I think this is where some of these fad diets have got it wrong. You know, the cabbage diet, even Atkins to some extent, that it is all about balancing the system. We were designed to exist on a variety of different substances, and unfortunately the modern diet that many people consume just doesn't have that balance in it. And you know, people have the excuse they don't have enough time, so they go out and get fast food, but we are the sum of our choices. We were saying that earlier, aren't we? And that ultimately you will pay the price sooner or later for the choices that you make.
Absolutely.
And therefore, if you begin to educate yourself better and make some healthier, better choices, then it will compound to produce a massive difference over a period of time. And we could be talking about living 15, 20 years longer here. Not only longer, but the quality of that life will be infinitely better.
Definitely.
Because you'll be living with more vitality and energy.
Definitely.
And it's not hard to do, is it, Peter?
It's not hard to do. People try and make it hard and try and make it complicated. Like say, you mentioned a few of these fad diets that are out there, and I read through the books, and it just seems so complicated. And no wonder people don't stick to them, because they're so intricate, and you got to weigh this and do that, and timings and don't do this, and they put restrictions
theory with
on
this that to some extent it allows people an excuse not to get the results. Because if it's complicated, they've always got the excuse that it was complicated, and they couldn't stick with it. It was
Absolutely,
too dramatic a regime, and I think that dieting is a really bad word. It's synonymous with denial, with pain, with frustration, with failure, and we know that dieting mucks with your metabolism.
Mm.
It's seriously dangerous, and people who diet, as in dieting, end up very often more overweight and unhappy and unhealthy than they ever were before.
Yeah.
Because it's not about balance.
Absolutely, that's where yo-yo dieting comes in.
Completely disastrous, and I talk about this all the time, the dangers of yo-yo dieting and how important it is to find a healthy foundation